Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article, basically dealing with, one or two things, basically often to the same thing, let's talk about dinosaurs and things like that, right? Popular, people think nowadays that, dinosaurs are fake. They live, like this article says, 250 million years ago or whatever, whatnot. They have all kind of different things, bugged out things that they come up with because of Esau and his, brainwashing tactics, how we all evolved, so many billions of years ago, we evolved from the same shit, something in the water, so on and so forth. But when you actually try to put these things into perspective, none of them make sense. They say, oh, well, people or animals or whatever, we all started out in the water. Then to get more food, we, grew this and grew that, had to grow wings. Like, well, that don't answer the question. Like, well, we still have shit that's like in the sea. How come they didn't evolve and no longer living in the sea to being on the ground? You know what I'm saying? Then like, oh, the giraffe has a long neck to be able to eat food up high. Well, what about the animals that eat down low? You see what I'm saying? You still have some animals that eat grass and stuff. They don't want to eat out the trees and nothing like that. So, that dispels all of these things. And how come we aren't all evolved to the same thing? All right. But nevertheless, it says, schoolboy in Russia's Far East stumbles on remains of gigantic dinosaur that roamed the ocean 250 million years ago. A young Russian boy in Far East has discovered a fossil of a prehistoric marine reptile, Ichthyosaurus, which is considered to be among the largest animals to ever live on Earth. The fossilized remains were found when a team of local dinosaur enthusiasts was inspecting the coast of Rusky Island. The Primorsky Aquarium explained. The miraculous discovery was made by a 7-year-old Dmitry Sarenko. I love dinosaurs a lot and have always dreamed of finding the bones of a real dinosaur, the boy said. I was looking at the stones all the time and asking Mom, maybe it's him. We're playing with my sister on the shore and found this unusual stone. A pair of paleontologists dispatched to the site confirmed that the particular markings on the stones were traces of an Ichthyosaurus, a massive prehistoric marine reptile. All right. And this is the other part that we're going to get into, all right. Because in the scriptures, they talk about A, dinosaurs, B, we'll get into leviathan. But, when it comes to the scriptures, they've done a great job of brainwashing people in these churches, man. They have you thinking on some like fucking Jedi mind tricks. Oh, it's just spiritual, brother. You got to spiritually think about it, blah, blah, blah. Now, there are certain things that's like spiritual that you can, that if you can receive in the spirit certain things, or for instance, give you a certain situation, well, for instance, Esau was a cunning hunter, right? When you look at him today, what is he known for? You know what I'm saying? Who is the top hunters on the earth nowadays? It's Esau. That's just in his spirit. He gonna keep doing that same shit. You know what I'm saying? Just like how Jake got it in their spirit. We like music. So even if Jake don't know the song or if it's in a different language, you know what I'm saying? You put some shit on that beat and you feel it in the spirit. Hey, that's just what they do. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they have you believing in certain things, which when they can't come up with an explanation for things, they'll just say, oh, it's spiritual. It's spiritual. We spiritual Israelites. We spiritual this and spiritual that. But these things aren't true. But nevertheless, the scriptures is filled with a lot of things that people would think is far out, that you'd have to be some kind of crazy to believe, but they actually go deep into them, like i.e. UFOs, all right, dinosaurs, the thermonuclear missiles. They couldn't believe that those things are in there in the scriptures, nowadays, but nevertheless, all of these things are actually in the scriptures, but you have to have the understanding to be able to see these things. And, that's actually the truth. You have to have the understanding to see these things. But in my carnal sense, as a carnal man, I'm like, just get out of the church, stop with that brainwashing shit and just read it for what it says. And it's right in there, and do your due diligence, research these words and what they mean. All right. But like I said, ultimately, if the Most High have you blinded, you're not going to see these things. Right. So going back into this, it says, let me read this top paragraph again. A pair of paleontologists dispatched to the site confirmed the particular markings on the stones were traces of an Ichthyosaurus, a massive prehistoric marine reptile, which is going to go into the second part of this here lesson I'm going to go into. The researchers said that the creature's rib cage was highly visible and the spine may be intact as well. There's still intrigue as to whether any skull fragments are in the rocks. That would have been absolutely awesome. Paleontologist Yuri Blotsky said, although the Ichthyosaurus could have lost his head 250 million years ago, which these are all lies, because they talk about us being here for like 250 million years or whatever, whatnot, billions of years and everything like that. And the scriptures don't speak about anything like that. All right. It says this, the stone plate, because I mean, just think about it. In scriptures, they go back to the creation of everything. All right. The beginning and everything like that. And again, if you have the understanding about these things, and again, it's not really hard. You just have to read, precept upon precept, line upon line, right? About, I think that's what, Second Peter's, where they talk about, that, our father said the same thing is going on from the beginning times, same thing going on now. And it was like they were ignorant to, not understanding that one day to the Most High is like 1,000 years to man, right? Now, when you go back into the beginning, all right, in Genesis, on the first day, the second day, the third day, these aren't days as we understand them as like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 24-hour time spans, all right? These were developments in 1,000 years. So we're going to keep reading and we'll grab that in the scriptures. The Ichthyosaurus has been described as one of the largest animals to ever live on Earth. It's believed to have been measured up to 85 feet long, right? So now, let me grab this in the scriptures. This is 2nd Ezra 14, and I'm going to start at verse... Start at verse 10. For the world have lost its youth, and times begin to wax old. And this is pretty much like anything that you have, man. All right, you go get you a brand new car. The longer you have it, the more, not to say docile, the more is losing its so-called quote unquote youth. All right, you get a brand new car with 0 miles on it. This shit running perfectly fine. Now, 20, 30 years down the road, this same car that you got, 20 years ago now has 200, 300,000 miles on it. Of course, through that time frame, you had to repair the brakes, might have had to repair this, repair that, because the part's starting to get old, right? Same with the earth that we got nowadays. As you see now, you can go back into the scriptures, man. Back in the olden days, it would take 2 full-grown men to carry 1 cluster of grapes. And these men were way bigger than what we are nowadays. You could just look at the generations that you see now. All right, the men that you see nowadays, like, let's say for me and my age, right? Like, my father is way taller than me. And his father was taller than him. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. People are getting smaller. You know what I'm saying? We're living shorter lives and things like that, man. Hell, even going back to the flood, beforehand, the oldest man was Methuselah, is 969 years old. The Most High shortened down man's life. All right. And not just that, you have a lot of different things that's, how do I say, getting less potent, more or less to say. It's not as strong as it used to be. All right, going back to the 2 men carrying 1 cluster of grapes. A little baby can pick up a whole cluster of grapes with their hand nowadays, man. All right, just to give you a scenario how the world is waxing old. Verse 11, for the world is divided into 12 parts, and 10 parts of it are gone already, half of the 10 part, and there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10 part. This is basically where we at now. All right, so you have, like I said, let me grab that real quick. I don't really want to read out of these scriptures, but it's fine. What was it? 2 Peter 3. Second Peter chapter 3 and verse 8, it says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. Right? So you have to understand that our days, our 24-hour span period that we measure as a day, from Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday to Thursday, these are 1 days to us, right? However, it says, 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a 1 day. So unto us, 1,000 years to us is like 1 day to the Most High, right? So when you go back into Genesis and things like that, just to dispel all of these things about, 250 million years ago and so on and so forth. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, it says here, God created the heavens and the earth, right? So you have to understand, this is the very beginning when things was actually being created. Now, we can go further into all of this, of who was actually doing this creation. But nevertheless, for the point of this here lesson, we'll just say God, right? So let me see. Let me jump down to verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Right? Now let me jump down to verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Right? Let me jump down to verse 13. And the evening and the morning were the third day. Right? So when you're going into these things here, This ain't like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not like that. It's not a 24 hours a time spanning period, man. These are basically going into 1,000 year periods, right? So going back to what we were reading in Second Esdras about the days, basically the 10 parts and everything like that. All right, this is going into what you have the 7 days of creation, 7,000 years. All right, now when you go into the history, right? When you go into these people that claim they know history, human recorded history only goes back to 5,000 years. All right, the first time human beings ever pretty much left traces of them being here was 5,000 years ago. All right, they can find the oldest when they tell you they found the original Adam and the original Eve, being as the so-called first people that they could find, the oldest people they could find. This goes back to 5,000 years, roughly 5,000 years back. When you go into any kind of written history, any kind of civilizations, any kind of markings, it only goes back to 5,000 years. So it's letting you know that it's not like human beings for the first time. They was around for 250, a billion years or whatever, whatnot. And they just started writing stuff down 5,000 years ago, recording stuff. That was the first time that they would, take a rock and throw it up against a wall, and they would leave a mark and be like, oh shit, so on and so forth. No, this is the times that we was actually on the earth. This is how long we've been here, right? And if you look up, those, 7,000 years of creation plus the 5,000 years coming up, this is where we at nowadays, right? We at the end of it all. As you can see, your house shot's about to come back and return. Perfect, right? So now let's get into this here article and talking about these dinosaurs and things like that, right? Matter of fact, I can't read it in here. Give me 1 second. Because I want to go into some definitions here. This is Job chapter 40, verse 15. It says, behold, now behemoth, which I have made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. So now you got to understand here, this is, first of all, you have human beings, and they even have his so-called scientific things going on with this. They even say that there are still dinosaurs roaming around, not like your normal alligators and things like that. But they actually have like, in the, what is it, the Congo, I think it is, where they have, where they say that there's still dinosaurs out there. They have footprints and tracks of dinosaurs. It's not super thousands of years, quote unquote, thousands of years old. All right. And things like that. And they also have like fossilized footprints of dinosaur tracks and human tracks walking side by side. So we were coexisting with these animals. Right. So as we read here, Job is talking about them right now. Right. So it says, behold, now behemoths, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. And so people will be like, well, what is this, this, and that? So we can go into this word, which is really there for behemoth. All right. It says behemoth, right? Perhaps an extinct dinosaur. A diplo. I'm not even going to try to pronounce those type of dinosaurs. But nevertheless, it's down here it says, some translate as an elephant or a hippopotamus, but from the description in Job 40, 15 through 24 is patently absurd. So we'll also read about how leviathan, they'll say is an alligator or whatever, whatnot. But this is absurd to think these things. This thing here was actually a dinosaur, all right? So I'm going to read the first definition again. Perhaps an extinct dinosaur, all right? Now let's go back. It says, behold, now behemoth, which I've made with thee, has he eateth grass as an ox. So now not only did we have the definition of what this was as, pretty much pertaining to a dinosaur, but it's going to give you the description of what this thing is like. All right. So it's not just going to tell you a name and they're going to, have the person have to define it, whatever it is. It's going to give you a full body description of this thing. All right. So it says, verse 16, for lo, his strength is in his loins and his force in his navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. His sinews of his stones are wrapped together. Now, as I'm reading this is not actually just talking about one singular dinosaur. Like he's not just describing one dinosaur. He's describing different types of dinosaurs, right? But in like, for instance, if somebody was to ask us about dinosaurs, right? Like, oh, can you describe a dinosaur to us? For the most part, some people will just give you a generalization of dinosaurs. They're not going to just, oh, well, the T-Rex, because they ask you about dinosaurs, like, well, T-Rex is this, and that. He's like, well, what about this other type of dinosaur, This is basically what you're getting. You're getting a description of, a couple different types. So it says, behold, now behemoth, which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. And lo, his strength is in his loins, his force is in his navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. His sinews of his stones are wrapped together. Hey, so you got a tail like a damn cedar tree, man. What kind of animal? What kind of, what they say, an elephant? All right, elephant's tails is nowhere near the size of a goddamn no kind of tree to begin with, right? Verse 18, his bones are as strong as a piece of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of the Most High. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring forth food where all the beasts of the field play. All right. So, hey, man, homeboy, before they was talking about, I forgot how they call them, herbivore or whatever, where they just eat the grass. But now you got the other ones where they eat the beast. They can go through the mountains and that's where they get all their food from. All right. It says, verse 21, he lieth under the shady trees and the covert of the reeds and the ferns. The shady trees cover him with their shadows. The willows of the brooks compassed about him. So when you think about that, you could think back to, there was a cartoon movie back in the days, The Land Before Time. You know what I'm saying? Where there was a certain scene in there where they was basically, they seemed like they was trees until you realize, oh shit, this is a damn dinosaur. Verse 23, behold, he drinketh up a river and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan with his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes and his nose pierced through with snares. Now, there are certain elephants, right, that do drink up rivers, all right, but not in the sense of like how you would generally see. I remember watching one of these Discovery Channel type things where they had these elephants, but they were migrating across the damn land. And they understood about the times and the seasons, and they had one of the little elephants. He was getting sick, and he was dying from malnutrition or whatever, whatnot. But in the sense of them, an elephant drinking up a river, you got to imagine they walking and the rivers are actually drying up on their own. If they don't get there in time, this is how the little baby elephant died. They didn't wind up getting, the baby elephant was dying and moving slow. And the parents knew they had to keep moving because the rivers are slowly drying up. And, by the time they get there, it's like you traveling somewhere, right? You got to get to the damn exit on time to meet the restaurant because they close at 9 o'clock, right? Let's say the restaurant closes at 9 o'clock, your little drive through, right? And it's 8:45. And it's like, damn, as we get in there, and, you driving through time zones, it's like, shit, all right, well, we just missed that one. We got to hurry up and get to the next one before they close. We got to hurry up and get to the next one before they close because they about to throw out all their food anyway, right? So the rivers are already drying up, and there's nothing for them to just drink the last little bit of it, But in this case, we talking about an actual river itself, man. They go down there, and they can actually lower the whole damn river. This is a constant flow of constant water coming, all right? They can go and drink up a whole lot of that damn water, man, all right? Yeah, I finished that. So let's go. That's dealing with the dinosaurs. Now let's go over here to, pretty much like something like what this boy found. They was talking about a large marine animal, right? This is going into Job 41, dealing with Leviathan. Now let's go into Leviathan's definition. Now this is akin to Godzilla, all right? This is something that you see in the movies or whatever, whatnot, and like the scripture says, there's nothing new under the sun. Where do they get these ideas from? All right. So this is going into Leviathan. Salakia. It says Leviathan, a sea monster, a dragon, a large aquatic animal, perhaps the extinct dinosaur Plesiosaurus, exact meaning unknown. So in these here definitions, all right, it's either a sea monster, a dragon, or a sea dinosaur. But they do know it's a large aquatic animal, right? And now again, just like we just read about the dinosaurs, we're going to read the whole description of this thing, right? Now let's read down here. It says, some thinks it is a crocodile, but from the description in Job 41, which we're about to read, this is blatantly absurd. It appears to be a large fire-breathing animal of some sort, all right? Just as the barometer beetle has an explosion-producing mechanism, so that the great sea dragon may have had an explosion production mechanism to enable it to be a real fire-breathing dragon. Now, when we read through the scriptures, they, well, in this here world, they make you think that a lot of things are far-fetched. Oh, y'all believe in, they fantasize a lot of things like, quote-unquote aliens and UFOs. They always have these little green monsters, gray monsters, or whatever, whatnot, and these UFOs or whatever, whatnot, witches. They make this some kind of cartoon thing or whatever, whatnot, But a lot of these things, all these things are actually in the scriptures, man, if you just read them for what they are. But now when you go to church and these Christian churches and things like that, if you was to go into these definitions and bring these things out, like, yo, the Bible talk about dinosaurs and fire-breathing dragons and shit like that. People like, bruh, you worshiping the devil. Yeah, that ain't in the Bible. But yet they would never go into these, these words. They won't even read none of these things. They'll be like, oh, that's something spiritual or whatever, whatnot, where they blatantly give you a definition of these things, right? Now, a lot of the popular beliefs of these things, like we were just reading about Behemoth, they'll say, oh, that was an elephant. This is why they have these things in here. All right, or a rhinoceros, I think I've also heard. But over here in Leviathan, they say it's like a crocodile or there was another animal they used to say that it was. But nevertheless, they tell you that that's absurd to even think these things, all right, because of the pure size of these things. And as we're going to read through there, they question if you could catch this thing or if you could do so on and so forth. Like, motherfuckers jump on alligators all the time. They had that one show where these people be down in the swamp, people, where they be wrestling the damn alligators and shit. You have people with these little sideshows. Bro, out here where I work, there's always alligators in the lake. And they'll be sending people out there and they just jump on their damn back and grab their damn mouth and pull their ass the fuck up out the water, man. All right. Now, granted, also where I live, there's a golf course, like literally maybe 10, 15 minutes down the road from where I live. All right. Now, you can see this shit on the news every couple years because he come out and everything. Like, there's like an 18, 19-foot alligator that stand about like maybe 3.5, 4 feet off the ground. This bad boy is tall. He tall and longer than like a goddamn car. This thing is huge, right? And then people, when you read the comment section, people think that it's CGI or it's fake. It's people in a costume. But living over here, knowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that shit's been out there. They called him Goliath. He's been living on the golf course, and whenever he walked across the golf course, they just stop the game and people take pictures, and that's it. That's like the biggest alligator I've ever seen in my life, and he's like 18 feet. Granted, that's nowhere in comparison to what we're reading here. All right. But here they also say, like, oh, fire-breathing dragon. There's a barometer beetle that has the same fire-breathing mechanism. That can produce these explosions. So most of the people that refute these things, they're not on no type of level. But then they'll say, oh, the science ain't never did this. Well, the real scientists know about shit like this, man. Just like how you think that scientists don't believe in God or whatever, whatnot. The further you get into that, you understand that there's a God, man. All right. So now let's get back to the scriptures. Job 41:1. Can thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, which thou lettest down? All right. So the first question is, to you fishermen, can you catch this damn animal, man? All right. And like I said, people catch alligators all the time, man. Crocodiles all the time, man. All right. This is nothing. First of all, they catching these motherfuckers on the land. Some of them be in little boats and they catch them that way too. But they catch these bad boys on the land. You know what I'm saying? Well, from the land. It's not like they in a big ass boat and they have to go out there and get them. Now in the swamp, in Louisiana, they do it like that. But they be in little small ass little boats. All right. Here in Florida, you see them. They be in the lakes. People will walk right out to the lake. And they see the damn gator jump on his back and then pull his ass the fuck out of there. But in these scenarios that we were reading, also gator bait, right? So let me read this again. Job 41:1. Can thou draw us out Leviathan with the hook, or his tongue with the cord which thou lettest down? Now, they used to catch alligators like this where they would put like a chicken or some shit, and they still do this out in Louisiana. They'll cut a chicken head off or whatever, whatnot. It'll be bleeding and hang them pretty much from a situation like in a tree or something. Because popular contrary belief, alligators can propel themselves out of water pretty damn high. They'll use their tail and they'll shoot themselves up out the damn water. Now, this is where they get the term gator bait from, because these Edomites used to take Jake babies and basically use them as the bait, and the gators would jump out the water, right? So now let's read this again. Job 41:1. Can thou draw us Leviathan with the hook, or his tongue with the cord that thou lettest down? Now, this is being facetious. This writing is like, yo, you a Stephen Hawkins ass nigga in a wheelchair. You think you can actually dunk on Jordan? This is how it's being presented. So obviously the answer to all these is no, right? But yet and still in regular, you can see it till today. They catch alligators, they would catch alligators like that where they would jump out the water and then, they'll bite onto whatever they have hanging from the tree. So these ain't alligators or crocodiles, bro. Verse 2, can thou put a hook in his nose or bore his jaw through with a thorn? All right, so forget about a hook. You look at that little gator show that they was out there in Louisiana where the dude be like, shoot him, Elizabeth, shoot him. What was they doing? There's a sweet spot in the back of an alligator's head basically where, when a gator opened his mouth, they can shoot him either inside the mouth up towards it where the bullet will go through the brain, or there's a certain spot right behind the gator's in the skull where it's a soft spot where the bullet will be able to go through and basically kill the gator, man. All right, so we're not even talking about a hook or a spear. We're talking about a damn gun, all right, which has way more force than a damn hook and spear, especially from those olden days, right? Verse 3, will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee, or wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as a bird, or wilt thou bond him with thy maidens? All right, so like how they do, like with the orca whales or killer whales or any of these animals, dolphins and things. I'm gonna use the orca whale because these are pretty like vicious animals. These we call a killer whale, right? Now, what do they do? What is SeaWorld known for? The big ass Free Willy looking whale and everything like that. They have those things and they make them do little tricks and everything like that. Hell, they even do that with alligators. They got alligator shows where they got a line of alligators lined up and these Edomites be going over there putting their heads all in their mouths and shit like that, slapping them on their nose and clamping that. They got all kind of alligator shows, man. The question is you gonna catch this bad boy and make him your entertainment piece, man? No. All right. Verse 6, shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? So basically, like, and they go deep sea fishing and grab these big tuna fish and shit, and then they cut them up or whatever, whatnot, and people eat these things. No, you're not gonna catch these and be eating them for sport or eating them because it's a delicate meat. No, bro. Like going back to catching them in these boats, man. When you go back into some of this history, not even that long ago, you have 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, 1800s. They have plenty of stories where these people were on these big ass boats, right? Fishing boats and everything like that, where these big ass sea monsters and big ass octopus. They even tell you about the big ass octopus and stuff like that. It's like bigger than the whole boat. Like these big ass, like if you can imagine slave ship type size boats, right? When they was, the conquistadors and the Spaniards, those type of boats that they was rolling on. All right, these boats was getting taken down by, sea creatures and things like that. That was as big as these damn boats, man. All right, and what they say, they know more about outer space, or really, which is inner space. They ain't been to outer space. They know more about quote unquote outer space than they know about what's in the ocean floor, man. All right, the majority of the Earth ain't even been been discovered yet, man. All right, for one, the majority of the Earth is the water, which they very rarely know anything about what's down below a certain depth in the water. All right. But let alone there's a lot of land on the earth they never even walked on it as well either. But nevertheless, it says, verse 7, can thou fill his skin with barbed irons or his head with fish spears? Hey, like I was going back into, when they were shooting alligators and shit, how they kill alligators like that. They basically shoot them, man. All right. So you're not going to wind up putting no hook or shooting this leviathan and killing them or catching them like that, man. All right. And Esau's a mighty hunter, a cunning hunter. All right, so you would think he know how to catch any and every damn thing, man. You watch some of these fishing shows, these hunting shows. They got all kind of lures, baits, reels, rods, all kind of shit, man. They go spearfishing, all kind of shit, bro. They got all kind of tools and tactics to be able to get any and everything about the damn water. But yet, with Leviathan, they ain't gonna be able to catch this thing, right? Verse 7 again. Can thou fill his skin with barbed iron or his head with fish spears? Lay thy hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Like, basically saying, like, yo, if you catch this bad boy, just remember to fight. That's all you're going to be able to do. You're not going to win. You're not going to catch him, all right? You're going to just be like, damn, man, I had a hold of his ass. And, like you fishing, right? You fishing, you get this big-ass bite. Oh, shit, and you trying to reel it in. Oh, you fighting for it. Then at the last minute, your damn line break, and that's all you remember. You remember to fight, but you ain't never seen it. You ain't never caught it, man, all right? Verse 9. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one cast down even at the sight of him? Basically, let me read that again. Verse 9. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? So you trying to catch them is like, how do I put this in some type of other thing? All right, so you a firefighter, right? And you thinking your absurd ass mind, like, I'm the best firefighter in the world. I know how to put out any and every fire. Guess what? I'm about to go put the fire out on the sun. Like, nigga, your hope is in vain, nigga. That is the dumbest shit I'd have never heard of. Like, you see what I'm saying? This is the same comparison. Verse 10, none is so fierce that dare stir him up, or who is able to stand before me. He who hath prevented me that I should repay him, whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely portion. Who can discover the face of his garments, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. All right. Now, again, you got to picture like Godzilla with this. All right. We already read the definition of Leviathan is a large sea-like creature, fire-breathing creature. Right. Verse 15. His scales are his pride, shut up together with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. Right. So, hey, man, just like, a lot of these reptiles, they have scales for, like a snake and things like that, man. All right, this is also a defense mechanism. All right, so you're not going to be able to pierce through his actual skin because he has these scales. All right, it says they are joined one to another. They stick together. So, like, did I skip something? Let me go back to 15. His scales or his pride shut up together as with a closed seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They're joined one to another. They stick together. They cannot be sundered. So you ain't going to be able to cut him open. Like, even if you did catch him and kill him or whatever, whatnot, you're not going to be able to cut his skin open. By his nesting, a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. All right. So we're about to get into this fire breathing situation, but also his eyes, like, for instance, those owl eyes, man, you see owl eyes in the night, they kind of light up, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, 19, out of his mouth go burning lamps and sparks of fire leap out. All right, so even Job is giving you the description. So again, like we were reading in the definition, all right, they say that, oh, it's a crocodile or something, but that's absurd because crocodiles, they not fire breathing, all right, or nothing like that. So as we read in here what Job is talking about, this is a fire breathing, basically Godzilla, all right? It says, verse 19, out of his mouth go burning lamps and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostril goeth smoke as out of a seething pot of cauldron. His breath kindles coals and his flame go out of his mouth. All right. So there's no mistaking this is a fire breathing creature, man. All right. And again, as we read in the definition, this is not far fetched or anything for something to be fire breathing because they have little beetles that have the same mechanism. All right. Verse 21. His breath kindle coals and his flame go out of his mouth. His neck remaineth strength, and sorrows is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of nether millstone. All right. So, hey, going into these things, just like, well, let me keep reading. They're going to go into it. Verse 25. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid by reason of breaking. They purify themselves. So now just imagine the Godzilla movie, right? Now, whichever ones you can see. And I remember the one I was watching, I don't know, maybe in the early 90s or mid 90s or whatever, whatnot. They had the military come out and they was trying to shoot at this thing or whatever, whatnot. They tried to bring out all their weapons upon Godzilla, but Godzilla was putting in work on their ass, right? So it says, the swords of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spears of darts, nor the habergons. Let me see what this word is. Body armor, weapon, perhaps a lance or a javelin. Hey, so going right back to what I was saying about the Godzilla movie, man. They showcasing the Godzilla movie. They got their guns, their military, their helicopters, their fighter jets shooting missiles and bombs and 50 cal rounds of this thing. And they ain't doing shit to him but pissing him off a little bit, you know. It says verse 26, the sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold him, the spear, the dart, nor the habergon. He esteemeth iron as straw and brass as rotten wood. All right. So, hey, man, going back into those bullets, he esteemeth iron as straw. Imagine you having iron bullets shooting at him. This is just like straw. Somebody taking like some pond straw, whatever, whatnot, trying to throw that at you. It's not going to really do shit to you, man. And brass is rotten wood. Just like you got to, you out in the woods or whatever, whatnot, you see like a tree branch or something like that fell down, you know, like you use a little kid and you hold it up and you kind of like chop it with your hand and you break it in half, you know what I'm saying? Or you use to pencil break, you know what I'm saying? Same shit, you know, this like, yo, your weapons are nothing comparably to him. Verse 28, the arrows cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him unto stubble. All right. So again, imagine these militaries in the movie Godzilla shooting at Godzilla and it ain't really doing no effect. Verse 29, darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of spears. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil. So going back up into this is basically like, again, in future times, Godzilla coming out the water, the world's military shooting at him, shooting missiles at him and everything, and it ain't got no effect on him, man. All right. Verse 31, he maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. All right, so again, going back into this fire-breathing creature, all right, imagine him being in the water and he just breathing fire up under the water. All you're going to see is the water boiling up under him, man. All right, he maketh the path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be a hoary. Upon the earth there is none like, there is not, so like, upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. All right. So this is the one and only type of situation that you got like this. Now, granted, the Most High make things in pairs and things like that. All right. So there's not just one Godzilla out there, man. There's multiple ones. And we know that when the Lord come back, he's going to, let me read the next one. Verse 34, behold, all things. He beholdeth all things. He is king over all the children of pride. All right. So, hey, man, one of the things that the Most High is going to do when, all hell start breaking loose and all these things is coming, it's going to be a day like never before since there was a nation on the face of the earth till now. You're going to have uproars of the people riding, Egyptian against Egyptian, neighbor against neighbor, fighting each other with guns in their hands and everything like that. You got plagues and shit going all around the whole earth, starvation going on around the whole earth. All right, you got UFOs in the sky going on around the earth, thermonuclear missiles in World War III. Then you got Godzilla coming out the ocean. You got creatures all over the place coming up out the woodwork, man. All right, the Most High has got the, the main event of this here movie stacked, man. All right, now going into this, going back to that article, man, you have what? The boys so-called finding these things, which is alluding to these things, man. The Most High showing the signs about these things, man. So, hey, man, throughout the scriptures, they talk about all these quote-unquote far-fetched things, whether it be dinosaurs, the leviathan, or something like a Godzilla, man. All these things are inside the scriptures, man, but yet and still they don't teach you these things in church, but they make you believe all kind of other things, man. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakak Badash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for you, Aki, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.